In our careers and our lives, we really are all architects. We love to celebrate the things we can see, right? The promotions, the finished projects. But the most important work, the stuff that holds everything else up, that happens below the surface. So today, we're going to talk about the architecture of that invisible progress. Just let that sink in for a second. It's so true, isn't it? It's not usually the hard work that makes us want to quit. It's the gap. That long, quiet space between putting in all the effort and seeing any real proof that it's paying off. This is the silent battle every single one of us faces. And this challenge, it actually has a name, the progress gap. It's that space where all the doubt starts to creep in, and honestly, where our commitment is really put to the test. Let's dig into why this feels so tough, especially right now.
Okay, so what's so interesting here is the huge conflict this slide points out. Our work lives, our entire culture really, has trained us for instant gratification. We get instant feedback on Slack, instant updates on a project dashboard, instant validation from a like. But real, lasting growth? It just doesn't play by those rules. It runs on a totally different clock. It's all about compound time, quiet repetition, and results that, well, they take their sweet time showing up.
And this right here is the absolute key. So many of us quit the right thing way too early. And it's not because we're not dedicated, not at all. It's because we mistake silence for failure. We think that lack of applause means we should stop, when really, it's a sign that we've just entered the most important part of the journey.
So we have to completely reframe how we think about this. That waiting period, it's not passive, it is not wasted time. When you pair it with consistent action, that waiting is the work. It's where the real magic happens.
Which brings us to the big idea for today, invisible progress. Think of it as everything you're building when it feels like no one is watching. It's that quiet pile-up of assets that will totally define your future long before they ever appear on a resume or a performance review. So, what are we actually building in this invisible phase? Well, it really boils down to 3 core assets. These are the things that will shape your career and your leadership way more than any single win. Let's take a look. Here they are, the 3 pillars of your future success. First, skills that give you real leverage. Second, a reputation that opens doors for you. And third, the discipline that literally shapes who you are. Now, these don't just appear out of nowhere. You build them brick by quiet brick. All right, asset number 1, skills. That tough skill you're working on right now, maybe it's getting better at writing clearly or learning how to really listen to your team. It might not feel like it has an immediate payoff, but what you're actually doing is preparing. You're building options for your future self, so when that unexpected opportunity finally shows up, you're not just ready for it, you're the only logical choice. Now let's talk about the second asset, reputation. And I'm not talking about your personal brand or making big announcements on LinkedIn. I'm talking about quiet reliability. People notice your consistency way before they notice your results. Just showing up, doing what you say you'll do, especially when there's nothing in it for you right away, that builds a kind of trust that will open doors you can't even see yet. And this brings us to the third and, maybe the most powerful asset of all, discipline. Every single time you follow through for yourself with no audience and no applause, you're doing so much more than just checking a box. You're forging self-trust. You're sending a signal to yourself loud and clear that says, I am a person who does what I say I will do. And that becomes the rock-solid foundation for your confidence and your leadership. Okay, so this brings us to a moment for you to do a little self-reflection. Because, look, knowing this stuff is one thing, but actually living it? That means you have to face that little voice of doubt that always shows up. Oh, we've all been there, haven't we? That nagging question in the back of your head. Is any of this even working? Am I just wasting my time? It's a totally normal part of any meaningful journey. But those questions are also a test of your commitment, not to the final outcome, but to the process itself. So I want to ask you this, right now. What are you building that's still in its invisible phase? What skill? What relationship? What habit? Take a second and name it. Acknowledge how important it's going to be later on, and then recommit to it, not with more hustle, but with more quiet consistency. And here's where it all comes together and gets really powerful. Understanding invisible progress doesn't just change you. It completely changes how you lead. It transforms your ability to empower the people around you because you start focusing on collective growth, not just your own. So, if there's one thing to take away, it's this. The future doesn't belong to the loudest person in the room. It belongs to those who have the disciplined faith to trust the process before the proof arrives. As leaders, our job is to model that trust. It's to see and encourage the invisible progress in our teams long before the results are in.
Because at the end of the day, real growth isn't a solo sport. It's not just about how far you can go, it's about how many people you bring along with you. It's about creating a space where other people feel safe enough to build their own invisible assets. So my question for you is simple. Who are you enabling today?